Welcome to the Spectrum Lounge podcast, where we discuss creatives of color disrupting the game in TV, film, and pop culture. I'm your host, Rebecca Theodore-Vachon, and on this episode, we speak with actress MaameYaa Boafo from the critically acclaimed Hulu series Ramy. Welcome, MaameYaa. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm hanging in there. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, it's like summer's coming, the sun's out. Well,
Yeah.
it's a little overcast in New
It's
York.
over. Yeah, I'm in New York too. I'm
Oh,
looking
you
out.
are.
Yeah, it's gray skies today, but
Mhm.
like things seem to be turning, in
Yes.
regards to the outside, what's happening. So
Mhm.
today's a good day.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I know, well, since you're in New York, there we have like this 4-step program to lift the quarantine. So
Yep.
I think we're at stage 2, right? Or
H2,
between
yeah, we're
we're at
about
stage
to,
2.
yeah. So we're getting there, as you know. But I'm just glad that we're doing this, slowly and steadily, making sure that we're following up all the protocols. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a good day.
Oh, that's great. So how have you been taking what have you been doing to kind of keep yourself sane and calm during, this pandemic and all this,
Yeah.
political action that's been going on?
Ooh,
Have you been taking
yeah.
care of yourself?
Yes, I have. Earlier on, it was like, listen, if I can make my bed, that's process or progress. If I can take my vitamins and make my bed, that's a plus. And then I was
You're
like,
winning.
exactly. Then I moved it up to, let me do maybe like 5 squats. Okay, done. But
Right.
but I've been catching up on shows that I've had on my list to watch, and I'm like, wow, the hype was real. The hype was real. Game of Thrones,
Wow.
Homeland. I'm currently watching 6 Feet Under. And I've been starting to go outside now with a mask, of course, but I did not leave my apartment. For the very first time I left my apartment was June 5th. And that was I had a
Wow.
doctor's appointment. I was like, you know what? It's a nice day. I'm just going to walk through Central Park.
Mhm.
And that's what I did. But yes, since between March 14th and June 5th, I was in. I would go up to, the roof of my building for some fresh air.
Mhm.
But I'm starting to, step out a little, walk around, just for a little bit. Central Park is not too far from my house. It's about 20 blocks, so it's a nice walk. I'm in Harlem, so it's a nice walk to get over to
Oh,
110th and
yeah.
stroll and like keep a distance. But it's nice to see, at least from where I am, people are wearing their masks. They're trying to respect social distancing and all of that. So I feel like, at least in my neck of the woods, there is solidarity in beating this thing. So yeah, that's staying sane by. I mean, I was like, let me watch something funny, because like Game of Thrones was not a happy ending.
Not at
Homeland,
all.
got me in my feelings. So I'm like, why am I drawn to this stuff when there was so much on TV to like, but yeah, and I've been reading and yeah, just taking it one step at a time. I'm a pro at taking my vitamins now. I don't need to remind myself. So
Oh, you're better than me. It's like I try what I do is I try to put them like within eyesight, like in front of my television so
uh-huh.
that I have no excuse, but I still forget anyway. But I try. I mean, I may miss a day, but I try to be as consistent as possible.
Listen, that's all you have to do. That's all you can do.
Oh my gosh. So, I mean, we need to talk about your role in Ramy. It's the critically acclaimed series on Hulu, created and starring Ramy Youssef. I mean, I watched season 1 and I do remember, there with all of the critical acclaim of Ramy, there were some critiques that were like, you know what, it would be nice if we saw some representation of black, Muslims, and particularly black Muslim women. We know that Dina's character on the show does have black women Muslim friends,
Mm-hmm.
and so they wanted to see some more, and then it just seemed like the promise was fulfilled with your character, and then of course with the great Mahershala
Mm-hmm.
Ali. So can you tell people like the character that you play and just kind of like, yeah, your story arc with that?
Yeah. So I play Zainab. I am the daughter of the Sheikh, which is played by the amazing Mahershala Ali. I remember when I got the audition notice and they were like, if you got the part, Mahershala Ali would be playing your dad. I was like, oh my gosh. I
Yeah,
was
no
like,
pressure.
but yeah, so I work alongside with my dad at the Sufi Center. I am devoted to helping people in my community. I am confident and comfortable in who I am as a dark-skinned Black woman, as a hijabi, and yeah, that's the I don't want to give out too much
Sure.
if we're not saying if we're not going to get all the way there. But yes, this is the
Oh, you know what? We can talk about spoilers. I'm gonna put.
okay,
We can.
okay.
So
Spoiler
this
alert,
is
okay.
just a spoiler alert. If you have not seen season 2 of Ramy, put this on pause and then come back and listen to this because we got to get into some of these storylines. Yeah. So, well, like I said, I was just so happy to see you. I was just like, because funny enough that you were talking about Homeland, and it was just like, while I liked the show, I was just like, oh God, again, these kind of depictions of,
Mhm,
Muslims in Hollywood. And
absolutely.
yeah, we're kind of starting to see like a reclamation of, the representation of Black Muslims. There was Nigel Mumin did a movie called Jinn.
Yes, that's on
Um,
my list. Yes.
Yes, and it was so lovely because it was this depiction of this Black Muslim mother and her daughter, just trying to find her identity, and it was just such a positive representation
Hmm.
of Black Muslims, and then just seeing Zainab just looking so beautiful and cultured, and I mean, number one, like your makeup was on point, girl. I was just like, okay,
I felt
that,
very fortunate. The
uh-huh,
whole Ramy team was amazing. And
mhm,
it just happened to be a win win situation for me that the head of the hair department is an amazing Black woman, Lawanda Pierre, and my makeup artist is also an amazing Black woman called Ellen Boykins. Bodkins. So they
mhm.
hooked it up. They hooked it up for me. Like I felt really lucky. I mean, anything that she would like, I don't wear makeup on a everyday basis, so like I'm
Mhm.
learning as she's putting it on me, and everything she would put on me, like, oh my gosh, this is so pretty, you know.
Yes, yes.
So yeah, yeah, I felt it. It felt great to have Black women on the show, like as crew. I
Mhm.
think that also just made me feel like it just solidified everything. But yeah, they hooked Zainab up with the makeup. I was very happy to be playing Zainab all decked out in great makeup.
Oh yeah. So I mean, you have the majority of your scenes are with Mahershala
Mm,
and of course Ramy.
yes.
What was it like working with each of them?
Oh, they were both amazing. I was working on another show, and someone had randomly just mentioned that they had worked with Mahershala on True Detective. And I just remember hearing them saying, Mahershala is going to be working forever because he is the nicest person in the world. And,
Mm-hmm.
that speaks volumes. And it's very true. Like, I mean, he wasn't even talking to me, he was just saying it to someone else. But I'm like, his reputation, follows him.
Right.
And so yeah, it was really lovely working with him. Of course I was nervous and I felt intimidated. I felt intimidated going into the show because I was like, I'm coming into a show that's already established. Like everyone knows, everyone, and they're already a family. And I
Mm-hmm.
kind of feel like the new girl coming into school, which is like the story of my life. I'm always the new girl, like when I was traveling and going to school. So I was like, oh, this is feeling again. But everyone was so welcoming. Mahershala, like in between takes when we were just offset, like I would help run lines with him if he wanted, and we talked about, like our experience of like being in New York. And I asked about his daughter and his wife. I was lucky to meet his wife on set one day, and he's just such a
Mm-hmm.
lovely person. And I just learned so much just watching him. It's truly a masterclass watching everyone. And
Yeah.
Ramy is just so cool. My audition was a self tape, And then I had a Skype interview or chemistry read with him on Skype. And so it wasn't until after I booked it that I met him in person. And I met him 2 days or a day before filming. And we just chatted, and it was just like talking to a friend, like we have some things in common. And he was just awesome. And working with him as a director, like if I have any questions, I can just ask him. Or, he's really open to improving around the script. Like he gives you that permission, which I've never been in that position before. And so for me, it was like just a fun way to be in the scene and explore my character. And he's just such a cool dude. Once in a while, he'll send me a screen grab of something that someone said about how much I deserve better, or I was like, yo, you need to run for the hills this summer, or, even, he also, he'll hit me up just to say hi, invited me and some other of the cast who were in New York to his show right before the lockdown. That was the last time I left the house, actually, to go see his show in
wow.
Brooklyn. Yeah. And so, yeah, I feel really grateful to continue to have a relationship with them outside of filming. Laith is like my homeboy. Like, he's such a sweetheart, and we'll chat every once in a while, or FaceTime on the phone. So it's I feel very lucky to have worked with such amazing people.
I think I saw because Laith plays Uncle Nassim.
Yes, he does.
Oh, he's a character. My friend said he calls him like the Middle Eastern Archie Bunker because
that's accurate. That is
he's so politically incorrect and so offensive. I'm like, oh my God.
And he is the opposite in real life.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I saw the video where he sang a happy birthday video for you.
Yes, he did in Arabic. Yes.
Oh my gosh. So we need to talk about the relationship with Zanab and Ramy, right? Because when they're first introduced, because I like to say that as far as like Zanab's story arc, the lesson in that is listen to Black women, right? Because in the beginning of, when she first meets Ramy, I think that's in episode 2, right?
Yes,
or what? And so she's very skeptical. I mean, it seems that, Sheikh Ali, Mahershala's character, is more welcoming, and she's kind of got her eyebrow up like, I don't know. You know what I mean? And then when you see the end by the season finale, you're like, oh my gosh, she was so right. She was so right to be skeptical. And one of the episodes that really stood out to me, because I wanted to talk to you about that episode, is episode 4. I think it was Khalifa, the Khalifa episode. And this is when Zanab and Ramy go to a potential donor because they need money to keep the center going. And, throughout the whole thing, it was just, I think it was so accurate. Like, the writing of that is that clearly Zanab is very intelligent. She understands what's going on, but she's like continually silenced. And at some points in the episode, you don't even see her. You know what I mean? And it's just, and I think there was towards the ending where you and Ramy in the car, you do get the money. And then Zanab says something to the effect of, well, dogs get more respect than Black women. And that
it was, like, I think I know he respects dogs better than Black women. And for me, I've been doing research, and I know that, like, or just as a Black woman, period, being a minority in most of my settings, like, there are times where I can just see people are trying to silence me, even though if whatever I'm saying, I know I'm right. Like, Zainab was absolutely right in the whole situation. Whatever she was saying at the beginning, Ramy just repeated it at the end.
Yes.
So for Zainab, it's like, look, I know we got the money because that's what we were here to do, because he was a donor and he's backing out. Like, this is the mission. Let's do this. But at the end of the day, I know that I was right. And she says that in the car too. So it's also about having that confidence in, look, I need to fight my battles in a certain way. I need to uphold what the center means. I need to maintain my cool and have dignity and respect in asking this person for money. I will, I know where he is wrong, where he's right, and it's been pointed out to him as well. So that's between him and God at that point, you know. But one thing that I do admire about Zainab, even though we haven't seen much of her, is that like she doesn't allow herself to be walked over. You know, it's like at the end of the season, you know, I mean, at the best way that I can handle what has been, you know, thrown at me is, at this moment, I can't deal with this right now. I'm going to walk away. You know, I'm going to step out and here's the ring. You think about what you just said. I'm going to go. Versus, you know, easily going to probably like being an angry Black woman or whatnot. You know, like I took the power into my hands in regards to how I'm going to deal with this at this moment versus breaking down in front of him. But yeah, she stands up for herself, you know, is outspoken and, you know, like will go tete-a-tete with Uncle Nassim. I think it was in episode 7 at the family's house, which was such a fun day of filming, because it's just being with the whole family, you know, meeting the whole family and being able to work with everyone. It was so much fun. But, you know, she's like, listen, and we're also not the ones bombing everything, you know, like I'm going to say that too, you know, here, just, you know, just to debunk everything that you have been thinking about us, about Black people, Black women, Black Muslims. Like she will speak her mind.
Right. I really loved that scene in that episode because there was just a subtleness to it, because I think there was really, when you watch the dynamic between Ramy's family and you and Mahershala, it was unsaid, because that's the kind of writing that I love, is just kind of reading between the lines. It's just this idea or the conflict of Black Muslims versus non-Black Muslims, right? Like when Ramy first, you know, tells his parents that, you know, he's thinking that he wants to marry you or be engaged to you, and then the mother sees he shows
the microaggression.
Yeah, and then she was like, oh, she looks like Beyonce, and we're like, what? I mean, of course, you're beautiful. That's not the point. But it's like, she looks nothing like Beyonce. Like, are you saying all Black women look alike?
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
So I could tell, like, just the look on the parents' faces, like they were kind of shocked that it was this darker skinned Black woman that Ramy had, you know, romantic feelings for. And then the actual sit down when Nassim is just throwing out all these microaggressions, like when he asked Sheikh Ali, like, oh, which prison did you convert to Islam? I'm like, oh my God. And then also the point of, you know, I love how, you know, Sheikh Ali shoots back. He was like, well, you know, let's talk about, you know, the Arabs that open up all these liquor stores
in the neighborhoods,
in the neighborhood, you know, and how that makes it that much harder, you know. And so, but so let's get to the season finale. My friend, when I told my friend that I was gonna, he was like, you need to ask her this. What did she see in Ramy? What does Zane and Ape think that she could be married to Ramy or pursue a romantic relationship? I have some thoughts, but I wanted you to answer it.
For me, like, so we've had lots of different drafts, and you know, there were some scenes that we were not able to shoot because of Corona. But the little, I always like to gather as much information I can from older drafts and whatnot in regards to what is being said about my character or what I say myself. And, you know, for me as Zainab, Ramy is someone who challenges me versus someone, you know, like just wanting to, you know, at least in a non-covert way, wanting to get to know me because I'm the Sheikh's daughter, you know, like wanting to know me for me. At least that's what Zainab felt, like where he challenges me because I said some stuff and he called me out on it before we went to the bin Khalid's house, and he's just someone different than anyone I've met. And so, as Mahershala's character said in episode 2, I see potential. Someone different, something exciting versus this stagnant everyday life for me of Sufi center home or whatever my normal is. Like someone has come and disrupted it and is challenging me, and it's exciting and I want to explore it. And Ramy he's a sweet guy. He's funny and he has a dog, and he like there's nothing I don't feel insulted by him. He doesn't make me uncomfortable, so why not? And so as time progresses, I'm developing feelings for him, and I believe they're reciprocated. So I'm going to take a chance on this one.
Right. Well, I mean, now that everything unfolded, do you think that Ramy ever or truly loves Zane and Ape?
I think there was something there. I think I'm curious to figure out or to find out from Ramy what exactly that was, because at the same time it's like, well, I was right about Dennis, but I was clearly wrong about this. I was, like I feel like as Zainab, I'm like kicking myself, saying, "Oh, I should have asked for the details," I think there was something there, which is why I feel like it was hard for him to say something to me. But again, how it unfolded is not how I as Zainab wanted it to go. But right. If I didn't feel like it wasn't reciprocated, I don't think I would have moved forward with the wedding anyway. Like I wouldn't want someone to waste my time if I didn't feel like they weren't interested in me. So I have to believe that, yes, there was something there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's complicated because in the scene where, you leave in the morning, you leave your ring on the nightstand, and then your father's there. I love that scene because he woke up and Mahershala was like, I was like, oh my God, that's Cottonmouth. Cottonmouth's about to come out, because you could tell he was just furious. And number one, it was just really beautiful to see this Black father who was just so advocating for his daughter. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, some people could say it's patriarchal, but I was like, no, I don't think that's it. I think he has a lot of respect for Zainab.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a father's love. And he was like, I trusted you, and you created all of this chaos, and you hurt my daughter. And when he told him that he's dangerous, I think that's the thing about Ramy, is that he's so self-destructive.
Yeah.
It's really terrifying to watch, like just the way like he just had all of these good things. He had a good relationship with the Sheikh. He had this beautiful relationship, and he just blew it all up. You know what I mean? For his cousin. I mean, that storyline alone was just ridiculous. So what do you think that Zainab will we see you and Sheikh Ali in season 3, or has there been any conversations?
I don't have an answer for that now, but okay. What I can say in regards to season 3 is that it's definitely being positioned where Ramy will have no choice but to face everything.
Good.
Like I imagine, his cousin, his whole family's about to hear about that. Like the consequences to his actions are about to be, dealt with. He has to face them. So that's what I can say about season 3 for now.
Yeah. The only thing is, I made a little prayer. I was like, please don't let Zainab be pregnant, because that would just be the worst thing ever. Not with this man. Please, please, please don't do that. That would break my heart, because he's totally not qualified to be a father right now. Although I think that it would make a wonderful mother. I think she could definitely handle on her own. So I want to talk to you a little bit about like your journey in becoming an actress. I know you were born in Pakistan, and your family's from God. So you sort of had like this global upbringing. So can you talk to us a little bit about your childhood and where you were from?
Yeah. So I am from Ghana. but I was born in Pakistan, and I grew up in Sudan, Switzerland, Ethiopia, and Kenya. I finished high school in Kenya and then came to the States for college, and I have been here pursuing my career ever since. Um, what else can I say? I call Ghana my home because for anywhere that I've traveled and lived in, I always come back to Ghana for summer vacations. So even though I didn't grow up there, it is a place that I am familiar with. I mean, I have family there. I'm happy to know my language and speak it fluently at home, even if they, mock me for my accent. I'm like, listen, you understand what I'm saying, okay? Just and in regards to being an actor, it's something that I've always admired. As a kid, my dad would bring home a rental on Fridays, and we'd watch it over the weekend. And he usually brought classic movies like Annie or Hello, Dolly. And I mean, I wouldn't call myself a musical theater. I mean, I can carry a note, but I wouldn't say I'm a singer. So like, musical theater was not what drew me. But I'm like, oh, just the possibilities, and it didn't really. I just thought I could do anything, if I want it, and if this is what is in my heart, I can pursue it. As I got older, it's like, okay, I don't see many people like me on TV, or I don't see many people like me with the kind of storyline that I would like to see. Like, are they usually two-dimensional or one-dimensional? But it was still something that I'm like, I want to pursue this. I would like to put my time and my energy into this, because I feel like this is what I want to do with my life. So it's been challenging, ups and downs. Auditioned for theater school, didn't get in the first time. Finally got to theater school, kicked my butt. Moving to New York and seeing the competition with Black actresses, how they deal, or having this notion that, there's only one role, there's only space for one Black actor, and choosing not to believe that, and, seeing people getting cast, and for me, at least with growing up as a minority, it's until someone told me, well, you can't play with us because there's no such thing as Black fairies. I didn't realize, oh, what, I'm Black, so I can't be a fairy in the forest with wings and fly around, and prancing about with like glitter, like, really?
Right.
So until that was pointed out to me, I've never thought, oh, is it because I'm Black? Or, oh, is it because I'm dark skinned? Or is it because I have a different type of natural hair? Is it because my natural hair is 4C, not like curly 4A, So it's right now, this is, I mean, for such a time as this, as painful and as frustrating as it is, there is a movement happening, and I'm grateful to be in the middle of it. It's wonderful to see all the actions that are being made, and not across all industries in regards to diversity. I pray they keep their word.
Right.
And so, that's something to keep an eye out and look at, and observe, and speak out about, and represent. And as I was told in school, the best way to see what you want to see is to create it. So
yes,
it's wonderful to see, like, just being on Ramy and seeing how he created this. Like, this is a singular story, and he is talking about his experience, like, and I feel like I know, and I've heard him say in interviews, and mentioned it to us as well, where, you know, people, at least in season 1, were looking at the show to be like, oh, it's a Muslim show, it's going to answer everything. No, it isn't. You know,
Yeah.
it's messy, it's complex, it's an insight of one person's journey, but it's so universal. And you know, I waited until the show came out to read anything, any tweets, any reviews, anyone in my DM or anything. And it's been nice to have people like saying, oh, you know, I really resonated with Zainab, and, you know, I low-key thought you were Muslim too. And, you know,
Right.
on set, sometimes Ramy would like turn to me and be like, are you sure you're not a Muslim? You know,
well, I actually thought that too.
in my audition, I, you know, living in Sudan and Pakistan, like I know some few Arabic words, and I decided to like just improv some of it. So like there, you know, and so, you know, like whatever I remember from being in Pakistan, with, you know, I just, you know, I just, you know, was like, let me play along with it. But yeah, I was like, you know, you've made me an honorary Muslim, so for you, yes. But it's nice to know that someone who created a story, a narrative that we hardly see about the immigrant life of being a minority is resonating with so many people. You know, Ramy could have been a story about you know, a Christian guy or a Buddhist trying to be the best, you know, like it's universal with seeking out to be the best version you can, but being self-destructive because of certain hangups or certain things you haven't dealt with, or just your own internal battles. And so to see someone create that and where it's gotten, and it's inspiring other people to create their own stories and whatnot. It's the direction to go. It's, you know, we can't wait around for someone to write our stories. Like I can't tell you how many scripts I've read where they'll just throw in some African name, but they're from somewhere else, and I'm like, wait, what? Like,
see, there you go.
What are you saying? And like, no, this is so not accurate. How did this fly? This is insulting. I'm not reading for this. Like, I'm not putting my name on this.
Yeah.
I don't want it. I'm choosing not to audition for this. Like, get your facts straight. Or you know, or someone who's like, they clearly have done some research and they want to go a certain direction, and I can see what their intentions are. Could I give input? Are you willing to hear what I have to say?
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, because that's the reflection of like the lack of diversity in the writers' room. Because with Ramy, we know that there are definitely women and people of color and people of the Muslim faith, so it gives it a specificity, and also universal themes. And you know, the other thing, like what you were saying earlier, is that, you know, with Ramy wanting Ramy to be all things to all people. And I always notice that when it comes to creatives of color, it there's like this burden of representation where it's like, yeah, because like I remember like just, you know, a few years ago when they announced that Ryan Coogler was going to do Black Panther, and it was just like, I was like, I'm so glad this man is not on social media, because people were like putting 1,000,001 requests of what Black Panther needed to be. And I'm just like, that is just way too much, especially because, you know, it's the first Black superhero from the MCU. So there's already that. And then he's the first Black director. And then it was just sort of like, you know, and I'm thinking like, well, the white directors, like, you know, the Russo brothers, they don't have that, you know, their only obligation is to make a good movie and for it to make money. Whereas when you're a director or a creative of color, it's not only those burdens that you have to worry about, then you have to worry about making everybody happy.
Exactly. Unless if you decide, listen, I'm writing my own story, you can like it or you cannot. People will gravitate towards it, and those are the people who I made it for. When you're ready to be inspired or learn something from what I have to share, you can share that. And if you don't like it, then, you know, you can keep it moving. So I appreciate and applaud those who are just firm in what they believe in and don't succumb to that. I'm sure, you know, producers and whatnot have a little say in this and marketing and all of that. But at the end of the day, you created it and you should have the right, just like anyone has the right to put out what it is that is in their heart.
Hmm. Yeah. So if you had like your dream like directors that you would like to work
Oh
with or
gosh.
certain actors and actresses, like what are some names that pop into your head?
Oh, there's so many, so many. I always feel like every time someone asks me a question like, "Oh, what's your favorite song?" I can't think of it. You know what I mean? But um, oh, there's just so many. I don't want to single anyone out and be like, "Oh, well, I forgot this person." But Ryan Coogler, of course.
Hmm.
Oh, Angela Bassett. I really loved her directing the Whitney Houston movie. I think it was the first time I ever saw her name as directing, but
Yeah.
to be directed in anything she does would be amazing.
She did a really
Um,
good job. I was
yeah,
really happy to see that. I was like,
yeah,
"Oh, okay."
yeah. And so, like, to be directed by an actor, I think would, you know, like someone who has done both.
Mhm.
I That would be a dream. There isn't anyone at this point who I don't want to work with. You know,
Oh,
I
good.
still have a very this. I'm still very new to this industry, and
Mhm.
I just welcome. I'm always grateful to be on a set. Um, Knock on wood. Like right now, I feel very privileged or lucky to have been in on sets and with experiences where, you know, I felt comfortable, people were respectful, it felt like a family. You know, so for more reasons than one, of course I would love to go be back on season 3. Like everyone was awesome, from transpo, the PA, the producers, everyone. So um, I just would love to continue to work with people who are daring enough to put stories that are brave, that make people uncomfortable, that are thought provoking, and who are respectful of all sorts of people on a set. So it's a very generic answer, but I'm at a loss of people I want to work with, because right
Mhm.
now there are more people I want to work with than people I don't, and people I don't want to work with are people who, you know, have reputations of, you know, like sexual harassment and all of that. Like, of
Mhm.
course,
'Cause
I'm
that's
saying
something
like
else you have to look out
exactly,
for. Oh my goodness.
exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically, I know, and I'd love to work with up and coming directors, you know, people who are just coming out of schools, you
Mhm.
know, who are so hungry, and have like great theses and all of that, and people who have been inspired by what they've seen. Like, I mean, I'm like them. Like, I grew up overseas watching American TV and seeing, you know, looking at it and being like, well, I why can't I venture into doing that? Like, why can't I? I know I don't see anyone who looks like me, but why can't I?
Mhm.
So yeah, it's really generic. I'm sorry, but
No, please, no
every-
apologies. No, but that's good. That's a good thing. You care about the work and you care about the craft, which is always a
yeah,
good thing.
yeah, yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much, MaameYaa, for coming on and
Oh, it's
speaking
my
to me.
pleasure. It's so nice
Thank
to talk
you.
to you.
Please take care of yourself.
You
And
too.
where
The
can
sun's peeking out, so I don't know
sure.
on your end. Where are you in the city?
I'm actually in Queens.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool.
Yeah, yeah. So, still overcast, but I'm gonna venture out and see what happens.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Spectrum Lounge. See you on the other side.